Hi Abby.
Hello.
It's so great to have you at Girls Talk this year.
It's nice to be here.
I was really inspired by just seeing you work and minister through your acting gift, not only with your monologues but on main stage and bringing the Bible to life. And I was just wondering, how did you become a Christian in the first place, and how did you get into doing acting?
I can put my finger on when I became a Christian, because it was a praise party when I was 6.
Oh, I remember those praise parties. I took all my children.
And I remember making a decision that day that I want this decision to be mine, not the decision of my family. But I was very blessed to grow up in a family with a strong faith, and that my parents had always been honest about what they believed and why. And so I grew up as a Christian, really, with my dad's actually a vicar, so I kind of grew up in a church atmosphere, and although there were moments when I kind of, doubted and questioned and struggled and wrestled, I've always kind of come back to that place of re-owning my faith and saying, actually, I do believe this and I do want to live differently because of it. So,
that's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I think I always wanted to act, but I didn't really want to own up to it because I thought it was a bit of a silly job. And that not many people actually manage to make a living out of it. So
I've heard that.
Yeah, so I went and did an English degree thinking keep the options open, but knew I needed to get this kind of acting thing out of my system. So I started acting straight out of university with Riding Lights Theatre Company, and then Lacey Theatre Company, working with Rob Lacey to perform the Street Bible, and it just went on from year to year, and I never got it out of my system, and I'm still doing it. And I've done some secular acting work, and then actually went to drama school later and did a postgraduate because I thought, I really want to do this to the best of my ability. If I'm going to do it, I need to invest in my craft and open more doors and have more opportunities to do this professionally.
Did you find that it did that?
I mean, certainly I met some incredible people and I learned a lot, and I definitely was able to improve my skill, I think, as a performer. And I wasn't writing all that much before then either, and I'm writing a lot more now, and I think that was a bit of a turning point in that sense. So I certainly don't regret it.
Well, I mean, we've been enjoying it. I mean, I used to live in South Wales, in Swansea. So when you did a Welsh Miss Shepherd this morning, it took me back. Your accent was perfect. I mean, it was just...
I went to drama school in Cardiff.
Oh, did you? So you spoke like that anyway.
I did.
Oh, that was wonderful. And also just giving us another slant on a Bible character is so helpful, understanding the inner story of people, what's going on in the heart, and I thought you brought that to life.
Well, that's the thing. I think we can really easily forget that the people in the Bible are real people. Yeah. I mean, there are some are characters in stories that Jesus told or whatever, but many of them are real people with real experiences and real history. And I think I'm so inspired by the Bible and by those people. I just wanted to explore, if they thought like we think, and they had emotions like we have emotions, and it's not just a kind of a dry narrative. God was there, and God is in people, and so I kind of wanted to explore how to tell those Bible stories and remind us that they're real people and that they face the same things we do.
Absolutely, and I've seen that obviously in your work, but have you had any feedback from people about how they've ministered to them over the years? In
lots of different ways, actually. I mean, for a start, I love it that people just enjoy them. That they, you can just read the monologues that I've written and think, well, that was fun, and it might make you laugh, it might make you smile, it might make you think, it might make you cry. And some people are also, a few non-Christians who read them are kind of saying, oh, I've never kind of thought about faith in this way, and it's opening up new doors and new opportunities in that sense. And they work differently for all sorts of different people, I think. I think God does what he does, and all you need to do, and all I like to do is just tell the story, I'll tell the story, and God can do the rest.
Use it as he wants to. I just wondered what you have seen. You've been around many churches, you've seen many situations, maybe different denominations and different kind of settings, and I'm wondering what you're seeing the state of creativity is in the church, maybe this nation or abroad, wherever you've been.
I think creativity's in a different state everywhere, really, and people are on their own journeys. I mean, the kind of basics of it for me is that God is the creator. The first thing he does is create, and that he made us in his image. So we are all creative, even if people think they're not. They are creative because they're made in the image of God. And we can all access that creativity at our own level. And I think it's really important that churches do explore that. And I think many are beginning to. Some have been doing it for years and years. But then there's a sort of another level whereby some people are called to do it on a higher level in terms of as a career or as a ministry or in a professional way. And I think the great thing about church is that it can work on lots of different levels, that actually it should be accessible for everybody, and many churches are doing great productions at Christmas and Easter and particularly working with their children and youth. They're getting creative, and we should be able to use all of our beings, all of our bodies, all of our brains, all of our emotions to praise God and to worship God. And so that involves art, it involves sculpture, it involves music, it involves dance, it involves theatre, everything, creative writing. And I think that we should all be accessing that. And many churches are. Some are still a little bit behind, I would guess, but others are getting there. But then I think we also need to support those who are doing it on a professional level, because to make a living it's almost impossible. And so it might be that, I know some churches have an artist in residence or a writer in residence and are supporting those people, giving them studio space, or they're supporting a theatre company and offering them rehearsal space and that sort of thing. And I think that's really important too, and I hope that more and more churches will be able to do that, to enable those creative people to try and make a difference on the professional level and on the big stage, the big screen, whatever.
That's wonderful. Yes, food for thought. Well, what would you say to a young person, for instance, or it doesn't have to be a young person, it could be someone in their middle age, it could even be old age, it doesn't have to, we won't put an age limit on it. If you could speak to someone who was thinking, what can I do, you know, how can I develop this gift in me, it's there, I know it, but I don't know what to do next, what would you say they should do next?
I think you just have to start somewhere. Yeah. And it might be that if you've got this kind of little niggle to start drawing or painting or making jewellery, just do it and start somewhere and start expressing yourself privately. Maybe gather a few friends together, start doing it together. I'm actually in a little group that meets on Thursday nights just to make stuff. And I'm not particularly a makey type, but it's great, and the relationships that I've built in that group have been amazing, and we're learning to express ourselves. So just do it and start, and then find the other people who are doing it is the next move, really, and to get that support and to work together. And if you can find other people with the same sort of passion, that can be the hard thing actually. Once you found them, to encourage each other and to keep going and keep going, and surf the internet for resources, for support.
There's great stuff out there.
There is, and I think you have to dig to find it, but there is support to be found. And if you're a professional, there are things like the Arts Centre Group, Christians in Entertainment, various other organisations that support people who are working in the arts. But as an amateur too, there's a lot you can grab onto as support, and there are books you can read. And I don't recommend any in particular, but there is stuff out there to help you. I will recommend one in particular. Actually, there's a book called The Artist's Way. Right. And I know a lot of people have really been, I haven't actually read it, but many of my friends have worked through it, and there are exercises to do that, and they've said it's really opened up new worlds for them and released them. So perhaps that's one to try.
Who's that by?
Do you know, I can't remember.
Okay, so The Artist's Way.
The Artist's Way, you'll have to Google it.
Alright, and then a word to pastors, because I'm also a pastor, so you know, I know you want churches to support, so you know, speaking to me as a church leader, what would you say? You've got your chance to.
I think many artists leave the church because they feel undervalued or misunderstood, and that it's not for them. I mean, it was, once upon a time, the church was where you would go to see the best art, to hear the best music, to see, you know, the mystery plays, the miracle plays. It was the home of creativity. And then with the Reformation, kind of the whole thing got chucked out, and we've been very slow to bring it back. And I think many creatives feel that their gifts won't be used or understood in church, and so they just drift away. And so I think it's important to listen to creative people who've got this buzz, and when they say, I've just got this idea, we have to be doing this, this and this. I know when you're in a position of leadership, it can be like, oh, grief. Not another one with another idea. But it is important to listen and to try and find the places where they can exercise those gifts. And it might be the professional world, it might be a group within the church. It might, and if you can't find time in your Sunday services, and many churches can't, then try another thing. You know, do once a term, have a night when people can gather and just paint or dance or do what it is they want to do. And I think it's important to have those moments of expression, because you might stumble upon something new and amazing.
Thanks for that. Thank you, Abby, for it's given us food for thought, and we really pray a real blessing on your ministry and continued development of that, and your work within churches as well, and encouraging those gifts. We pray a real blessing on that too. So thank you.